Well, welcome to episode 1, part 1 of Racing with Lucky Dog Racing and Team Marty Not Racing. Yes. So I took the front tyres down today and taking these down tomorrow, get them all fitted and on the race car. So these are Hankook tyres because they sponsored Lucky Dog. They're rather nice actually. We usually use Falcons. These have done a couple of races and they're just about done. Uneven wear when we had the extreme negative camber, which has now been sorted out. That one's a little bit more even. So be interesting to see how these Hankooks fare. They're the same tread wear as Lemon specify, which is 200, so it's quite a hard tyre. The idea is that people don't go out on super sticky stuff and it all gets very expensive because they don't last long, etc, etc. So, yes. Well, there we have them, all fitted up and ready to go. Little concerned about the front ones because these are wider. We had 235 55s, I think, and these are 245 40s. So we're a little concerned that they're going to fit in the arches because it was tight already, but we'll see. Well, there we have it. The new tyre is going to be tight, I think. This is going to be interesting. And yes, this is what I meant about the quality of those other mirrors that I bought for the Stratos, because I originally bought a set of these, which we eventually ended up fitting to the race car, and as you can see, they flop about, so we had to put a new hinge in there to make sure that the mirror stays where it's supposed to stay and doesn't end up dangling down the side of the door. Well, it's tight, and I'm thinking under cornering with the car leaning into it, and that there's some sharp edges here. I think we need to do a little modification to that. Don't need any rivets running into the tyre. It's all right at the back. It's just that front edge and maybe that top edge that's a little close. But otherwise, yeah, because they're taller. They're 45s and these were 35s. So as well as being wider, they're taller. You can see compared to this side, there's a marked difference. Okay, I'm at Ricky Boobies, loading up the race car, ready for the race, all on my own. It's quite an exercise, as you will see. Anyway, it starts, it runs. Let's hope we haven't got a petrol leak under the hood, which I will check in a minute. Well, it's minor compared to what it was before, but I think that needs tightening down a little more. I think we've still got a leak. Okay, we are ready to go. Kit all packed up for the weekend, which includes, as you can see, 20 gallons worth of jerry cans, because last stop before the border, filled up with gasoline at half the price. So we are ready to race. Or not, as the case may be, because apparently we've got all kinds of problems with carburetors and fuel leaks and brakes and who knows what. Because Mike's looking at the car.
Oh, I see. Oh gosh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So as opposed to Lemons, according to the qualifying position, that's where you all drive round in your qualifying position.
Yeah.
So it's
wow,
a proper Le Mans start,
yes.
not the old style, obviously
like
running
yes.
across the track, because
right.
that would take Rick at least 20 minutes.
Not just to get to the car.
Right.
Then to get in the car and belt up. Yeah.
So is there some kind of briefing?
Yes, there's briefing. Well,
So he makes a good captain, doesn't he?
he does. I think.
No,
Yes.
He's been groomed.
Yeah, so how can I be the captain?
I think this is a
Idiot.
great new clubhouse. I think we need
We do, don't we?
a fifth partner. Who's a proper mechanic with a proper motor on.
Well, at the price we sell the shares, we've got to sell 10 shares to get our fucking money back. So.
It's been a really good motor.
Yeah.
I mean,
It has, actually.
it's been, I don't know how many hours we have on it, how many races, but
A lot.
10 maybe? I don't know.
At least.
At least 10 or 15. So let's say out of a 14-hour weekend, maybe we race 10. I don't know. So we have 100 hours on the motor roughly. At, you know, at pretty demanding conditions.
Yeah.
So it's the second radiator we had. The first one, you know, it really overheated quickly, and so we got a bigger one, and it's about as big as
Rick's answer to everything is go large.
Yeah, go bigger. So you know, I don't think we can get a bigger one in there right now. I don't know if the heating becomes
Get a wider one.
We can't get a wider one. Can't really. Well, I don't know. We might be able to get a taller one, but it would have to. I don't know what we do about how it hangs down below.
Make it come up higher.
Yeah.
Hang it up.
Yeah. Go up. Exactly. Precisely.
Yeah, Rick, shouldn't you just be in a chair telling somebody else to do that?
And a rocker, I think what you mean.
Yeah.
A rocker.
So this is a very rare occurrence. We have Ricky Booby actually doing something on the car.
So that's going to give us, you know, a certain amount of temperature.
Yeah, so David, just to explain the hierarchy of the team, you have to come in at captain, but eventually you get to be admiral, and you sit in a chair just barking orders at people.
He does do that.
Unless
Proficient.
the troops are so
Yeah, I suggested that.
intolerant of the situation.
Grand old man. Whoops. I'm the grand old man of this team.
So you're the expert.
I said grand old man.
So you're responsible for all of this engineering?
No, it's good, man.
That's not good news.
It's not exactly a dipstick, but it's
No, dipstick's over here. Just getting it all buttoned down for tech. Dave's putting the fire extinguisher back in. Mike is doing the window net, which we need for Lucky Dog. We didn't need for Lemons. So the brand new window net that's going in place. Proper NASCAR. And Rick, of course, is enjoying a cocktail.
All right, what do you want me to do?
So this is what we're up against, unfortunately, because this is a really tidily put together car. I mean, this is a proper race car.
I knew it was good.
It's right in the horse, right?
And what's more, it's got Norman there in the middle, who you may be familiar with if you've watched any of my videos on making the Porsche at 944. He was semi-involved at the beginning, and he's a damn good driver. Meet Norm. Sun sets on the circuit. We shall be going to tech. I may video that if it's not too obtrusive. So we just happened to notice this beauty here, which you may recognise the engine. Yes, it's the same 164 3-litre 12 valve, and we're talking to this chap who used a Holtec ECU, which is interesting. And here it is, the 164 in all its glory. It's actually a very pretty car, and I enjoyed driving mine around. And this is nicely prepared. They got it finished last night, so it has not been kind of race tuned. They played on the safe side, and yeah, nicely done again. So Rick's making the best of best of the opportunity.
He's stuck in this position now for
Apparently,
the next 20
yeah,
minutes.
that's right. Yeah,
He can't get down.
we got to get him off there, and we got to unseize all his bones. Well, it's getting on for midnight, and I've just come outside the bus, and we're about the only people. Oh no, there's some people up there, over there. Anyway, we have the full Lucky Dog Racing scrutineer team, etc., in our bus, drinking our wine. Apparently, we're very popular at Lucky Dog Racing. If you don't believe me, I'm coming in.
Not my bad.
I got a good picture of his racks. Yeah.
Oh no, I got real racks to share. No, I'm not sharing.
All right.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He's got us on tape now.
I got you on tape now.
Talking about racks.
So Mikey's getting in the car now. David's gonna do all the belts and things while I get ready, because this is a practice session, and we're splitting it between me and Mike, because Mike's hardly driven the car and I've never driven the circuit. So okay, we are rolling. Nothing fell off. Mikey's out first, and he's just going to do a few practice laps. So I need to get ready, suited and booted, ready for my session. Didn't get out for practice because we found a fuel leak on the pump itself, so Mike's fixing that right now.
I'm advising, don't use me to repair it.
That's good advice.
Carmen broke it.
I
We
would
need to do something about the snitch in the pitch.
snitch in the pitch, the snitch bitch in the pitch. Yeah, I didn't break it. I was just sitting in it. was an interesting first stint because we had the problems with the fuel pump. We ended up joining the back of the grid from the pit lane, and so everything went blasting by. I've never seen the circuit before in my life, so it took me 5 laps to get slightly orientated, by which time of course the quick boys at the front had caught me, and they weren't much help in terms of me trying to hang on to them, but eventually I spun and caught up with some boys at about the same pace, so we had some fun, so that was good. Car's running fine, tyres getting a bit slippery after an hour, well actually after about 40 minutes, but pressures are about 34 when they're hot, so that's pretty much what they should be. So Mikey spun too, and we're just checking the air filter because it wouldn't start again. It starts now, but I'm figuring there was a lot of dust in there from both our offs. Unfortunately I missed that, but that's Mikey's second spin. And there he is in the dirt. Yeah, okay. Okay, David's ready to go. Nearly. Okay, David's just finished his stint. Rick's going in now. Ricky Booby, 2:16 to beat. Show us how it's done. Seems we have a VIP penalty. That's that red thing on the roof there, because the visor wasn't down when we were filling up with fuel. They're very, very particular about fuel and the whole filling process, and understandably they've had a couple of cars that have caught fire in the past, so safety first. You might have noticed at this point that Michael actually did flare those front arches, so they're still tight, but plenty of room, just enough room, let's say that. Yeah. So Rick's in already, probably because he hit somebody. Yeah. Oh, go on then.
It's recorded.
That's an upsie.
What's it look like?
It's pretty bad. Baseball bat should do it.
Is the wheel running?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
They'll probably bring us in then and see what we can do.
Yeah. I think a bicycle bat will fly it out. Yeah, it's out. We've got to pull it out. So did he crash into you?
Oh, fuck yeah. Hit me at about 30 miles an hour faster than I was going.
Jeez. Zip ties. What?
Watch your back here, guys. Come back.
Okay.
Sufficient damage to come back in the paddock and secure that front end. Meantime, our friends with the beautiful Alfa are also seemingly having problems. Day 2. David ready for the off. Cleaned up the motor a bit, topped up the oil. We checked the water. A little bit of extra repair to the front. Not that you can tell. Quite a lot of damage actually. We're looking forward to a winter of repairs.
Don't forget to get the gas canisters out of the truck before we leave.
Okay, yeah, or we'll just take the truck up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had a good run this morning with times consistently under the 2 minutes 20, so that was nice. Ricky Booby's clocking just over kind of 2:22. Anyway, Mikey's in the pit, he's in the paddock because we think we got a problem. Yeah, when I pulled out this morning for my session, something transmission-y didn't sound too good, and it was okay, but I missed a couple of gears during my session, and we're wondering if there's some kind of issue with the transaxle or the gearbox or the clutch even. We're gonna find out.
Feels perfect just driving out
This
this way.
transmission, you're thinking?
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It seems like fourth gear is where it started kind of early-ish on.
Is it like a graunchy noise as well?
There's not a lot of noise, but there's a ton of vibration, so I don't know. It may even just... we've lost our wheel weights, so it may even just...
And on that note, we decided to call it a day. We're not sure. There's definitely something going on with the transmission. We're all pretty knackered, and rather than destroy it completely, we've decided to take an early bath, go home, get some rest, see my wife and my puppy dogs, and leave this boy in Phoenix to get some ideas about what we can do to improve it and sort out whatever the issue is. We were having problems getting the gears. I couldn't get it in first at all, couldn't get second when it was actually rolling, had to come to a complete stop. So there's clearly something up with the transmission, and we've had enough, and enough is enough. So a fun weekend racing, and we've all had enough. And it's almost in one piece, so can't complain. Getting too old for this, I think that's what it is. Marty not racing, indeed. Marty going home. Possibly the last race for the race car in this guise, and we're going to be doing some work over the winter to improve all the things that are wrong with it, and paint it up completely different and all kinds of stuff. So look forward to a new car next year. Well, same car, just newer. Okay, they're loaded up and ready to ship out. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Fuck off.
Well, all in all, a good weekend for Marty not racing, honestly.
I know we didn't get to take the checkered flag, which is always a nice thing to do, but at the same time it's always good to err on the side of caution, which is what we did with the transmission. As I said, we were all kind of exhausted. It's been a long weekend, not as long as some of the races we go to for sure, but it was a good point to call it a day and not completely wreck the transmission, which we've done before. We had originally ran the standard 944
transmission, which just couldn't deal with the torque from the Chevy motor. And that in fact was another aspect that we just kind of couldn't be bothered to do at the circuit, but we potentially realized that there was a possibility that we were running low on transmission fluid or oil, and therefore that could be a factor. As far as actually being able to shift into the first and second type thing when we were moving, that was potentially the same issue, or maybe just the shift mechanism itself. Again, we've upgraded that to what was supposed to be a quick shift, but it's always been really floppy and loose and weird and wonderful. There's a huge rod that goes obviously from the gear lever all the way back down to the end of the car, which, you know, any wear and tear on either end is going to be accentuated by that length of travel. So that's a factor too, and that's something else to check out over the winter. And what we've decided to do over the winter is to leave the car temporarily in Phoenix. It's down at Mikey's place, and run it by a couple of guys he knows, firstly on the transmission, obviously, to find out what's going on there, but secondly just to look at the motor, see what we can do to give it some more BHP and power. And we're going to kind of put a shopping list together, work out what we want to do, what we don't want to do. Then we're going to bring it back and refurb all the broken bits and pieces, bodywork wise, and yeah, give it a new coat of paint. So stay tuned on channel Porsche for updates over the coming months, and see what we do and how we do it for next season. And you know, we're going to be doing potentially a variety of series, whether it's Champ Car, now it's called, Lemons obviously we'll still be involved with, and potentially another lucky dog. Yeah. So any mods we do will be inside, and therefore hopefully undetectable from the Lemons perspective. It's not cheating, is it? Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, one of the landmark situations, is that the right word, this weekend was that usually Ricky Booby and I are vying for fastest lap in the team, and usually I go out there with my hair on fire at some point and set a time, and the bugger always pips it. And this week he didn't quite manage that, which is good for me. I don't think I'm getting any faster. So sadly, maybe Ricky Booby's getting a little bit slower. That said, my quickest lap was 2:16, and that was a bit of a freaky lap actually on day one. But on Sunday morning, I clocked in a bunch of 2:18s and 2:17s and 2:19s and whatever. And Ricky Booby hit a 2:19, so he's not that far off. Although usually we were within like half a second of each other. I won't mention what the other boys did. No need to embarrass them. No, they were very respectable. But it seems that Ricky Booby and I are definitely the quicker in the team, and even with young blood like Mikey racing around the track, we're still there. So the old boys are still quickest. And on that note, I think we shall wrap up the race suit, hang up the race suit and the racing boots until next season, and we'll check in with some updates to the car over the coming months. I'm not literally going to hang it up there, obviously it's just drying. And as usual, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Do subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to be modifying the Porsche. And of course, encourage others to watch my lunacy.